Happy Friday. Fresh faced. Sleepy. I'm ready to go back to bed. So my devotional today was on Luke 1 verses 26 through 37. And if you recall back to mine, it's about when the angel Gabriel goes to Mary, right? Well, there's a verse in particular that knocked me right in the jugular today. So the verse that really hit me was verse 28. And Gabriel comes to Mary and he says, "Hail, thou art highly favored among women." Now, I'm paraphrasing here. I can't remember word for word what it says, but essentially, that's what it says. Now, I want you guys to think about something. Mary was probably between the ages, they estimate, of like 12 to 16. A lot of you guys are going to say, "Well, it's too young to have a kid." I totally agree with you to an extent. Because here's the thing you guys have to realize. Life expectancy in the first century was not very long. Okay? It just wasn't. And so they did get married young. They did have children young. And they did the same thing in the Middle Ages. Like, up until about 100 years ago, it was considered odd to not get married really young like that. My great-grandmother was 14. Now, would I have been ready to get married at 14? Absolutely not. I barely feel ready to get married now if I was asked. And I'm 29. Anyway, you guys have got to realize that a 13-year-old in the first century, 2,000 years ago, was way, way more mature than your 13-year-old daughter today. 13-year-olds today are on Snapchat tip-tapping away or playing Roblox or some crap. And a 13-year-old back then had already been taught how to cook, how to clean, how to keep house, how to, maybe weave cloth or something like that. They could sew. They had domestic abilities. I'm not saying your 13-year-old doesn't. But the maturity level is so much greater. Now, here's my point. Gabriel said, "Blessed and highly favored thou art among women." There is only one other woman in the Bible that is called blessed and highly favored by God. And that's Jael in Judges 4, who is one of my favorite women in the Bible. Because she put a tent peg through a dude's temple, but that's neither here nor there. She's the only other woman called blessed and highly favored of God. They were both young. One had the courage to kill an enemy. Ooh. He just gave me some revelation on this. One had the courage to kill the enemy that had snuck into her camp, right? Dude, he's so good. He's so good. I can't. Genesis 3 says that the serpent will bruise his heel and he will crush his head, right? So Mary was carrying the one who would kill the enemy. The one who would... Oh, okay. All right. Well, anyway, let me get to the point here. The other point, because that's a little... You good. You are so good. I love it. Anyway. Oh, I'm going to be thinking about that all day now. Okay. Let me get back on point. She was like 13, 14 years old. Okay? She's a child. What kind of character must she have had to be called blessed and highly favored among women? She was 14 years old, if you will. I read something the other day that talked about Mary's mother. They said, "Mary, did you know?" Mary knew, but her mama didn't. This was a time in Israel that was called the silent years, where God wasn't speaking through a prophet, nothing. It was dry as a bone. So when you go through a silent period, a silent season, it feels like God's not speaking to you, don't despair. Because a lot of times when he's quiet, that means he's preparing something huge for you. And in Israel's case, he was lining up things to bring the Messiah into the world, to bring up Jesus. So, next time the Lord leaves you on red, take that into consideration. But I digress. Her mother must have instilled such amazing values and such strength and such reverence and obedience and trust in God into her daughter, that at that young age, she was called blessed and highly favored among women. So if her daughter was blessed and highly favored among women, there's no way that her mother couldn't have been as well. Now, the Bible doesn't say anything about Mary's mother, but I tend to think, we women, we tend to mirror our mothers, and that can either be a good thing or a bad thing. But, it's just like anybody else. The environment you grow up in shapes you, right? And you have a choice to either allow that environment to shape your adult years and your adult decisions, if it's a good environment, or if it's a bad environment, okay? You have that free will in that decision, which that's another conversation. But anyway, whatever Mary's mother instilled in her, it was so solid when she was such a young woman that God saw that. But she knew it was going to happen anyway. But God saw that, and he said, that's the girl I want carrying my son and raising my son. She had such a character. And the same thing for Joseph. He had such character that God saw him fit to be able to be trusted with his son, to raise him. Same thing with Mary. So, there's two little things of revelation for you today. Number one, she was raised, with such character and such beautiful, what's the word I'm looking for, Holy Spirit? Morals and faith, that she was chosen to be the mother of the Messiah. And she was only the second woman called blessed and highly favored among women, because she would be carrying and raising the one who would crush the serpent's head, the one who would kill the enemy, right? Once and for all. Jael killed the enemy back there in Judges 4. Right? Mary carried the one who would wipe him out forever. So, happy Friday. Don't look at my face. It looked like a hot mess. And I hope you enjoyed this deep talk in the Jeep. Okay? Merry Christmas. Bundle up. It's cold. Bye. Oh, and he loves you. Don't forget that. Okay?